Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dream of owning a home or investing in one. Today, let's talk about what you're going to do with that stimulus check. Well, as many of you may see, either on social media or regular TV, radio, you may have heard that there's going to be a $1,200 check given out to everyone. Well, after reading the bill, I realized that is not necessarily the case. Actually, everyone is not going to be receiving a stimulus check. You see, if you have not paid your child support, or if you have not filed income taxes for last year and the year before, you will not get a check. Okay? So, the other thing is that the amount that you get goes according to your income and also how many dependents you have. So you may get a check, but it's not going to be $1,200. It might, to be honest with you, it might be $100 if you make too much. The other thing that I need to let you guys know is that unfortunately, some con artists have already started trying to get information from people in order to steal their identity by sending little envelopes in the mail or calling them on the phone talking about the stimulus check. Please double check with your accountant to make sure that you don't get ripped off. Also, there are some companies who are taking advantage of this opportunity as well. They'll send you a letter on the top. It'll say stimulus, and you think that it is a tax stimulus when it's actually a car salesman trying to get you to buy a car. Please read carefully before you sign anything or give anybody any information, okay? So now, let us start with the people who are unemployed or temporarily laid off. No matter how much you get, especially if you get the maximum, depending on where you are, that $1,200 really isn't going to go far, especially those of you who live in New York or California. That doesn't even barely cover the rent. It may cover your bills. So definitely use that for that. Use that money to pay off the bills. If you do have money already to pay off bills, then you may want to just hold on to it for as long as you can for emergency money, because you're already in an urgent situation. I would also consult with a free financial advisor. There are a number of them that are available to you. When you go and see one, make sure you have added up all of your expenses and your debt. Since you don't have income at the moment, there's not much that you can really show them, unless maybe you are a landlord who, at least you will have that money coming in. Take all of that with you, but add it up before you actually get there so that they can assess personally for you what is right. And definitely make sure you ask them what is the proper thing you should do as far as how to use your retirement money, because taking all of your retirement money at this time, it may or may not have a negative effect on you. Okay? Now, for those of you who are still employed, if you do not have an emergency fund, I suggest that you use that money as your emergency fund. Set it aside somewhere. If you are going to invest, please note you don't have to invest the total amount unless it's just extra money. There are platforms out here that allows you to invest in fractional shares for as little as $5. And yes, you can turn that $5 into $300. It is possible. I've done it. In this market, I might not be able to turn it over that quickly, but it can be done. Okay. Areas, sectors that you may want to look into investing is technology. With so many people working from home, people have to buy hardware. For example, people are paying to use the internet, etc. Even though many of the streaming companies are offering discounts, not everybody is taking advantage of that. So you may want to think about investing in that area. Healthcare, because there is such a high demand right now in treating patients who have come down with this virus that has plagued the whole entire world. Healthcare is another platform that you may want to look into. If you're going to do a crowd fund, you may also want to look at buildings for healthcare and data centers and government offices. Other areas or other things, if that money is just extra money to pad your pocket that you don't really need at all, then you may also want to think about uh, mortgage securities or what have you. Again, do your research, get into that background, and make sure that the investment is solid before you actually put your money into it, because the market is very volatile. In order to cut back on taxes, I would suggest that you look into a healthcare savings account if you can, because all of you will not qualify for that. Look into an IRA if you qualify for that, or you can put that money back into your 401k if you haven't maxed out already, or if you have children, an educational savings account. This way, you won't be taxed back on that. You can also look at bonds and index funds. Those are other areas of investment. And then, of course, buying a tax lien. You can put all of that inside one of those three vehicles so that you don't have to pay such high taxes for next year on that refund, that money, that stimulus check that you got. Again, speak to your retirement contact person at work and ask about whether or not you should put your money into a cash account or something similar to that, or move it into a bond as well, your 401k money. Next, if you are still looking into buying a home, you're not on lockdown or quarantine as yet, and you can still roam the earth, if you will, to a certain extent, you may want to hold off just a little bit, because soon property people will be offering that up as subject to. Basically, when you're getting a subject to, you're basically taking over someone's mortgage. How do you find such deals? Well, one thing you can do is you can try wholesaling. You can try joining a meetup group. You can also look on such sites as Craigslist, and you'll find a number of them there. What's great about them is you don't necessarily have to be qualified by the bank at all. Title definitely goes into your name, okay? Now, the other thing that is starting to happen is sellers are actually paying off closing. So you don't have to put up money for the closing costs. Ask if they haven't. Some will, some won't. It's totally up to you. Okay? So those are basically my tips on what you may want to consider once you get that stimulus check. Again, hopefully, the information that I've shared with you will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this along, because each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.